Good morning student. Today we will discuss about RNA World Hypothesis. Then second point is the organic evolution. First we discuss about RNA World Hypothesis. Sidney Altman and Thomas Cheese independently found out that RNA acts as a biocatalyst. RNA acts as a biocatalyst. Catalytic RNA are called as ribozymes. Catalytic RNA are called as ribozymes. Altman and Cheese earned Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1989. This discovery provided important support. For RNA World Hypothesis. Support for RNA World Hypothesis. The hypothesis suggests that early life must have been based exclusively on nucleic acids and most probably RNA. RNA is found abundantly in all living cells. Structurally related to DNA. It is structurally related to DNA, and chains of RNA undergo mutations, replication, and catalyze reactions. Undergoes mutations, replication, which replicate, and catalyze reactions. All support this hypothesis. In ribosome translation process is catalyzed by RNA. Ribosome translation process is catalyzed by RNA. These molecules undergoes repeated replication. And mutation, forming varieties of RNA molecules, with various sizes and catalytic property. This is about the RNA World Hypothesis. Then next point is the organic evolution. Evolution is the act of unrolling or unfolding of nature. Evolution is an act of unrolling or unfolding of nature. Organic evolution is defined as slow, gradual, continuous, irreversible changes. Slow, gradual, continuous, irreversible changes through which present day complex forms of the life developed from their simple pre-existing form, which is known as the organic evolution. According to Charles Darwin, evolution is descent with modification. According to Charles Darwin, evolution is descent with modification. Then the Lamarck's theory, the theory of origin of acquired characters. Theory of origin of acquired characters and use and disuse of organs. The traits are acquired due to internal force. Changes in environment, new needs, and use and disuse of organs. The traits are acquired due to internal force, changes in environment, new needs, use and disuse of organs. Gives rise to new species. This gives rise to new species after several generations. Lamarckism was disproved by August Weismann. Weismann's theory of germ plasm. In this theory, Weismann states that variations produced in somatic cells, that is in somatoplasm, that is in somatoplasm, are not inherited. While variations produced in germ cells, that is in germ plasma, are inherited to next generation. He proposed the theory of germ plasm. Weizmann proposed the theory of germ plasm. Then next point is the Darwinism. Theory of origin of species. By natural selection. After observation of variations between the tortoise and finches on Galapagos Island. After observations of variations between the tortoise and finches on Galapagos Island, Charles Lyell viewpoint on which Darwin's theory was based on the viewpoint Darwin's theory was based on the natural forces that existed in the past are same as those existing at present. Wallace also made similar observations. Then R. Malthus proved the idea. That increase in human population leads to competition and struggle for existence. Of human species. He also influenced Malthus, by plant or animal breeders. Then the Darwinism is based on five main postulates. The first postulate is overproduction. tendency. Overproduction is the natural tendency to produce more number of progeny. More number of progeny in geometric ratio. Overproduction is the natural tendency to produce more number of progeny in geometric ratio for perpetuation of the species. For perpetuation of the species. Example: salmon fish, then single pair of elephants. Example of overproduction is the salmon fish and single pair of elephants. Then second main postulates is the struggle for existence. Second main postulate is the struggle for existence. Tendency of overproduction. Tendency of overproduction leads to struggle for existence. Leads to struggle for existence between the members of population. Between the members of population for limited supply of food. For limited supply of food, or to overcome adverse environmental conditions, or to overcome adverse environmental conditions, or for a space, or to escape from enemies, or to escape from enemies, etc. Then third postulate is the organic variations. Third postulate is the organic variations. In this, variations for all kinds, variations for all kinds of differences, variations for all kinds of differences that occur in morphology, physiology, nutrition, habit, behavioral pattern, etc. Variations for all kinds of differences that occur in morphology, physiology, nutrition, habit, behavioral pattern, etc. Then the fourth postulate is natural selection. In the struggle for existence, organism with favorable variations, organisms with favorable variations are selected by nature, while unfavorable variations are perished. Then the useful variations are preserved. preserved by nature is called natural selection. Is called natural selection. And this process as a survival of fittest. And this process as a survival of the fittest. Then the fifth postulates is the origin of the fifth postulate, origin of new species, origin of new species, that is the speciation. Fifth postulate is the speciation or origin of new species. Favorable variations, as favorable variations are transmitted from generation to generation. Favorable variations are transmitted from generation to generation. Successive generations become better adapted. Successive generations become better adapted to environment. Better adapted to environment. Gradually these adaptations with few new modification become fixed in the life cycle. And give rise to a new species. This is about the main 5 postulates. Then the next point is the evidences. First evidence, evolution of long-necked giraffe. Evolution of long-necked giraffe came to existence. Long-necked giraffe came to existence. This is the first evidence. Then second, black-colored peppered moth. Black-colored peppered moth evolved gradually as a new species. Black-colored peppered moths evolved gradually as a new species. Then next evidence, DDT resistance in mosquito. DDT resistance in mosquito. Then the next point is the drawbacks and the objections. Drawbacks and the objection. Darwin considered minute fluctuating variations. Darwin considered minute fluctuating variation as principal factors which are not heritable and not part of evolution, which are not heritable and not part of evolution. Then next objection, he did not distinguish somatic and germinal variation. Somatic and germinal variation, and considered all variations are heritable. Then next, drawback. And objection is, he did not explain the arrival of the fetus. Did not explain the arrival of fetus. Then next, he did not explain the cause, origin and inheritance of variations. He did not explain the cause, origin and inheritance of variations and of vestigial organs. Darwinism could not explain existence of neutral flowers and the sterility of hybrids. This is about the drawbacks and objections to Darwinism. Thank you.